Hey, all right, I'm just going to jump right in. You can join in as you guys get on. Anyway, I really wanted to go through the importance of movement in starting exercise and some of the things that hold us back, specifically chronic pain. And I, luckily, when I was diagnosed with MS, already had built some really good habits with exercising, and that being something I fell back on when I was in a lot of pain or fatigued. I didn't know I had MS yet, but I'm so glad that I had those habits already. So here's what happens, and this is why I'm doing this, because I see this often where we get in this cycle of losing maybe motivation because we're in pain. So we rest more, but maybe then rest too much. Our muscles weaken, and then we're in more pain, and we think we need more rest. And you get in this cycle where now we're not moving a whole lot, and we're kind of getting worse and starting to depend on more medications. And I'm not a doctor by any means, but this is strictly from my own experience. I've been there where dependent on more medications and trying to figure out what's going to work, right? But as I've worked with more chronic illnesses and chronic pain and trying to get to the root of it, and this is after they've been cleared by all means, it's getting into a movement habit and pattern so that your body, your muscles will release a chemical that sends into normal pain. Same with your brain. It will release that serotonin that blocks the pain signals. But it's got to be the right kind of exercise and what's right for you. So how do you get started? How do you get off the couch when you're like, but I'm in so much pain? How do we get there? How do we even know, right? So, and if you've got clients, if you're a trainer, it is hard to motivate somebody through building the habits for them to finally start feeling it, because it does take time. And that's why I encourage let's get started with what you like to do, right? That's going to be, you got to find what you enjoy doing. So if that's 20 minutes of walking, getting the joints moving, some inflammation is good. Your body, that is the right response when you're injured or it's healing something. Some inflammation is good. Too much inflammation is where we get into some chronic things and we start seeing fibromyalgia and chronic issues with it. And then we've got to figure out how do we backtrack and get started and move forward, right? So you're not going to feel like you want to. Well, let's just get rid of that. If you're waiting to feel like you've got the energy and you're in pain, that's not going to happen. But we're just going to say, let's start building a 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. We're going to get up and get moving. Maybe you're splitting it and you're doing 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. With MS, sometimes I have to do what I have energy in short spurts of things. So that makes sense. That's fine. So I want you to just get started with something you like to do for 20 minutes. And you're going to notice that we're starting to move and feel a little better. And suddenly you're breathing better, we're moving better. And 20 minutes in, you might actually want to go longer. Don't overdo it. Some chronic things, if you overdo it, then you're going to be feeling it the next day. So talk to a professional, talk to your doctor, talk to a trainer, all the things, but don't just sit and get into that cycle that I talked about of feeling the pain. So we rest longer, take time off, then we hurt more, then we, then we think we need more medication and more time off. And then pretty soon you start telling yourself these limits. Oh, I shouldn't do that. That's going to hurt. I'm not going to do that. And now you've built the opposite habit of where you wanted to go. Yeah, nope, that's not for me. Nope. I know that train of thought. I was 32 before I started fitness. Yeah, I think so. And I had a degenerative back disease. This is before I knew I had MS. I had surgery done in my neck, and I was thinking medications, doctors. That's where my train of thought was. Not natural healing things. Not how can I get my body to naturally release chemicals in brain and engage the sympathetic nervous system that's going to naturally turn off pain signals. But now I do know that, and I naturally go for movement. Okay, I am not going to get rid of 100% of pain. There is a certain level of me that knows I'm not damaging anything more. I'm cleared to do this, right? My body naturally sends pain signals constantly. There is a certain level of pain I just know I'm going to be in, but I know I'll be in more, and I don't want to be at a 10 every day. I know I'll be in more if I don't do the things I know help that, and I will feel better. If I'm achy at night, if I went to bed achy, I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night or wake up the next morning and feel like total crap. So I'll go walk the block. I'll go move. I'll go do something. So, you know, a lot of my followers on here are fitness people. They're runners. They hike. They get to do all the things. But I know there's also a population of you on here that are doing it in a lot of pain and just aren't talking about it, or have slowed down because you're in pain and you're not talking about it. Or maybe you have a relative or a mom you would love to help and say, how can I explain this to them? Okay, so I want you to have the backup and the things. Do research on your own too. That's why swimming, right? It takes pressure off of the joints. It's low impact, but they're still creating that cardiovascular, brain health movement. On the side of that health, heart health, sympathetic nervous system, when they start that movement and get to do more and more, now we're building confidence. And that's another thing, the setback in our head that says, I'll make it to the gym or I'll go outside and go work out when I'm this, or I lost this much amount of weight, or I got to reach this goal before I'm in public. No. Hands down, no, stop that train of thought. You be inspiring to yourself and say, I'm going to get up and move today. I'm going to get up and do this. Don't overdo it. Take on goals that are reasonable. Don't set yourself up for failure. That's no fun. Give yourself an attainable goal. That's why I hate January 1st, you guys, because there's no sense of setting an attainable goal. Let's give ourselves one that can go past January 1st. Maybe we started it in November. We're going to keep going. So find that goal. Find somebody to support you, your friend, your coach, going to class, whatever it is. Find a backup, find support for what you are doing, and let's start there. And then let's give it some time. Prepare ahead of time for setbacks so that you can give yourself the grace to say, yeah, that didn't work out really well today. And be like, I'm going to move on tomorrow. I don't really care. Not that you don't care, but we're not going to emphasize so much that it feels like a failure. That's not where we want to go. That's not going to move us forward. I am not lifting as much right now. I am sleeping a lot right now. I'm not doing as much, teaching as much. And I could look at that like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And I hate that word because I know my body and I know I'll get back to it. So what's super important to me right now is recognizing that I need to walk more, not do all the cardio and the high jumping and all the classes. Don't sub everything and take on everything that I have to, feel like I need to cover. So I have created myself a safety structure, right? So now my circle, ready? We drew this before, the inactivity circle where it's like, I don't feel good, I'm in pain, rest more, I hurt more, stay down more. We want to change that. I don't feel so great, I'm hurting. Ooh, let's move. I should go to this class. Oh, I do feel better. I'm sleeping better. I'm going to get up and do this again tomorrow. Do you see where those circles changed? Now you're creating this other entire new habit circle, right? So what does that look like for you right now? What does it look like? What is your motivating circle? We'll have to make a name. I don't know. There probably is a name out there already for it. But I hate seeing young 20-year-olds already in this. Moms who are struggling and tired and fatigued, overwhelmed, who get into that habit of can't do it. And we feel worse and worse. And the serotonin isn't being built. And now we're moving into chronic and depression and anxiety along with it. And it's not just about the physical. Now our mental health is being affected by that. So we switch that to, I know this is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to set my alarm and I'm going to commit. It's not about habit. It's about commitment. So we committed to get up, get moving. We said we were going to go walking for 20 minutes, 2 kids in a stroller, whatever. We got a husband to watch the kids. tell the teenager, don't ask me a question. I got 30 minutes. Whatever you have to do to make it your time. We feel better. Movement's happening. Our mood goes up. Serotonin gets released, right? Your coping skills are now moved to something healthier. You get the same type of feeling, right? When you're like, ooh, a pop would taste really good right now. And it probably does, but it's releasing a different kind of habit and commitment. So we want that built back up to feel better. I'm going to do this more. I'm going to wake up and do it tomorrow because I felt a whole lot better. Now this is going to affect your chronic pain, right? Instead of being down and letting that inflammation build and build and build, we're going to affect it in a different way. So I was on, full disclosure, I was on pain meds for 10 years. 10. Before I knew I had MS, I was doing steroid treatments for my back. It was in a pain management clinic monthly. And I was in enough pain to justify that for sure. But I wasn't getting any better and I wasn't getting anywhere. So that's actually where my fitness started, was because I knew I needed to find a different way. The pain meds for MS, yeah, they helped for a certain amount of time, but I was starting to feel crappier. Didn't like how I was waking up. They were starting to keep me up at night, and I needed a different way. And I didn't want to be on them anymore. I didn't want to be in that pattern. I knew I felt better moving, but it wasn't enough. So what could I add to this pattern and habit forming of what could I do more? What could I do next? And that's where I started seeking out other natural things and other ways. You will have to create that for yourself. Not to say that you don't need physicians. They're there for a reason. I've had double injections in my hip in April. That was necessary. I had something actually physically wrong. I'm not saying that you won't need that. What I'm saying is that when it turns into chronic and it starts building a habit where you're losing being able to move as much as you did, and we're starting to lose that commitment to yourself, it's time to do something different. And what is that for you? What is going to bring you back to that? Oh, that's right. I feel amazing when I do this, A, B, and C. And this is what's going to actually motivate me tomorrow, because you built the commitment and habits to do so. That makes sense? I sure hope so. Yes, I love you all too. And, there is a difference between whether you want to do a full-on workout for this, right? I'm not saying you need to be in a gym. I'm not saying you need to have an exercise routine. Your physical activity may look different. My physical activity today was paddling. I knew that's what my body could handle. And 80 yards on here. Love you guys. I knew that's what my body could handle. So I didn't lift today. I didn't teach a big cardio class today, but I went and raised my heart rate for a whole hour. I feel freaking fantastic. And that's what I want you guys to recognize. It's not always about the weight loss, which you've heard me say before. That's still a goal when it affects your heart health and joints, right? But I also want the biggest factor to be on how do you feel? What are you doing that makes you feel like so strong? It is amazing to feel strong. I don't say that lightly, because isn't this crazy? After 11 years of MS, I'm still healthier and stronger than I was in my 20s, because I didn't do anything. And I was raising kids and gaining weight by the day, and my joints and my back were giving out. I was not your picture of health. I couldn't do the things I enjoyed doing with my kids and knew I wanted to do more of. I don't regret this diagnosis. I've learned a lot and found what it is that works for me, right? So I have MS. I'm also getting older with it. So, let's kick hormones into that. It's super fun. Let's do menopause and MS. That's a whole nother live. All right. Love you guys. If you have questions, you can always reach out, DM me. Yeah, I am here. I get it. That's all I'm saying. I totally get it. Bye.